in a way that still happens to me. I find it an emotional experience.
For all of our languages, we can't communicate. For all of our native tongues, we're all natives here. The scars of the past are slow to disappear. The cries of the dead are always in our ears. Only the very safe can talk about wrong and right, of those who were forced to choose. There's some who will choose to fight. For all of our languages, we can't communicate.
I wouldn't try and say I'm this kind of a singer or that kind of a singer. I just get totally involved in the song. I don't think too much about what way I'm going to accompany it or what way I'm going to sing it. I just really study the song and listen to the words and the nuances and the rhythm, and that's just where I'm at. In 1969, I sat on a stage in London with Ewan MacColl and Peggy Seeger, and the penny dropped a bit. That here's a man singing in the traditional style, but he's singing about the issues. And then I heard him singing songs like Dirty Old Town, which at the time was about what was happening to Salford. It's become a different kind of a song now. It's one of those songs we sing now and we don't know what it's about. But he wrote it as a social commentary on what was happening to his town. Did I tell you about meeting up with Bibi?
No.
And Bibi said to me, she said, "Tell me, Christy, where did it all begin?"
Oh, God.
I think it was 1943 or 1944 in the Majestic Ballroom in Tramore. My father asked my mother out for a slow foxtrot, and 9 months later I was born into a very musical family. Oh, jeez, it was a very musical family. Like, Daddy would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, he'd take out the uilleann pipes and he'd start playing the slow airs and the mazurkas, and then Mammy would come down at 7, BJ, she'd make the porridge and she'd take out the concertina, and the two of them would playing the feckin' slow airs and the reels all day long, of course pausing for the odd deck of the rosary. And then Bibi says to me, "What were your earliest influences, Christy?" "Oh, Geely, Count John McCormack, Jimmy Dunny, Bobby Rogers, Mick Dell and Dickie Rock. Percy French, I was heavy into the Percy French songs. It was at the fair of Ballintubber I met McGrath at the jubber. If I could lay me hands upon the rubber, he stole away the pride of that kind of stuff, baby. You know what I mean? Until about 1957, I think, baby, it was, I was heading down the back street and I went into the Palace Cinema. BJ's Bill Haley and the Comets. Rock around the clock, baby. I lost me soul to rock and roll. Billy Fury, Jane Vincent, the whole feckin' lot of them. I didn't know whether I was coming or going, BJ's, but until one night, baby, I was coming home from devotions. And I was thinking to myself, you know, all this rock and roll, it's outside my everyday experience. Like, there I was, baby, riding out to the bog on my bicycle, singing, riding along on my automobile, you know. It's all very well for Chuck Berry going down in the back of the limousine with some young one, but I was still trying to get Donal Lunny's sister up on the back of my bike. So I was looking for something a little bit more organic, like a bit more macrobiotic. The jazz I found it, baby, one night I was twiddling the dials in the owl pie. Fuck it, I found it anyway. Fine girl you are. You're the girl that I adore. And still I live in hopes to see on a holy ground once more. So I started following the Dubliners and the Clancy brothers and Pecker Dunn and Maggie Barry and a whole lot of them, baby, and I became a lounge boy in a ballad lounge. tune in again next week, baby.
Tune in again next week.
So what do you think?
That sounds great.
Have I got any hits in my hands here?
Yeah, of course you have. You always have, sure.
Will it be very big next year?
Well, that depends on the people, doesn't it?
Will we make the Leinster bigger? Newbridge was a garrison town. The Curragh was the biggest garrison in the island of Ireland. Kildare was a garrison town, and Naas was a garrison town. There was always a huge British military presence there. This is Moorfield Terrace here, and these houses were built originally by the British Army. But now, this is the only house that's left as a family home. These three are all divided up into offices of different kinds. This is our back garden here originally. And that was my bedroom up there. And many's the night I climbed up the wall and went in through the window. And down the back here were the sheds for where the army officers would have kept their horses and their livery. And this was our shed here. This is Mrs. Daly's, this is Murray's, and Brannigan's. They had two sheds down there. Well, here we are now, rambling down the front street in Newbridge. This chemist shop here, part of it used to be an old grocery shop, which my father opened back in the early 50s. It was an old-fashioned kind of a shop. He used to sell loose tea, sugar, rashers, sausages, eggs, black pudding, white pudding, the whole lot. And this is where I first worked. On Monday I used to weigh the tea and sugar. On Tuesday I used to go to the dump. On Thursday and Friday I was a bit of a messenger boy. I used to eat a lot of biscuits as well and drink a lot of lemonade on the sly. My father's mother people were the Dowlings, and they were in Barnestown for centuries. And when I grew up, Barnestown was inhabited by my grandmother, Bridie Moore, and by my granduncle, Frank Dowling, and my grandaunt, Annie Dowling. And the three of them were there, and their whole way of life made a very big impression on me. The thing I remember most about them is that the order from town was the same every week, year in, year out. It was always the same, and I'm sure I can still recite it. It was 80 goldflake. There would be 80 goldflake. There was always salt and sugar. And there used to be fish because they get a bit of whiting from town on the Friday. But all the provisions went out in a small box every week, and it was the same every week. They had everything they needed. I would have first came out here when I was about 3, but I would have come out here as an infant. Right. But my earliest memories of it would be things like the wireless coming in and the batteries being carried in. We used to get the batteries charged up in Newbridge and bring them out. And people coming in to listen to races on the wireless. Other neighbours coming up to listen to, maybe it was the first wireless. I have those kind of memories. It was a whole different world then, of course, you know. All this would have been different fields that all had different names. This was a lovely road in. There used to be a duck pond down there, and there was always daffodils. There's a lovely avenue, sweeping avenue coming in here. And then my earliest memory is a thatched cottage here, which subsequently had a tin roof on it. But it's amazing now, there's nothing left. It's just gone, it's disappeared. Disappeared off the face of the earth. I mean, if the Hill of Allen wasn't there, I wouldn't recognise where I'm standing. So I will pluck my love some roses, some wild Irish roses. I will pluck my love some roses, and the fairest that ever grew, and I will place them on the grave of my own darling true love. In that cold and silent graveyard, where she lies beneath the dew. I had a great bit of luck. Back about 1961, Frank, I went into the library down in Newbridge and I got this book called Joyce's Collection of Songs. And in the middle of it, I found this song called the Co.Kildare. And of course, I started singing it. A lot of people around here think I wrote this song, but the song was actually written by Robbie Burns. And straight I will repair to the Co.Kildare.
Yeah. Is that romance behind that?
Behind the bush.
Or behind the forest?
Oh, the winter it is past, and the summer's come at last.
Sure.
And
You never know.
the
Can they make it all right?
birds, they are singing in
Yeah.
the trees. Oh, their little hearts are glad, but mine is very sad. For my true love is far away from me, and its thread I will repair to the Co.Kildare. For it's there I'll find tidings of my dear. The rose upon the briar, by the water running clear, gives joy to the linnet and the bee. Oh, their little hearts are blessed, but mine, it's not at rest. For my true love is absent from me, and its thread I will repair to the Co.Kildare. For it's there I'll find tidings. I was in 5th class in national school. Brother Brendan was our teacher. There was a knock on the door and Father McNally came in and he called Brother Brendan out of the class. And to this day I believe I knew that it was something to do with me because I got this weird feeling. And then Brother Brendan came into the class and called me out. And the two of them spoke to me and they more or less said, you better go home, your mother wants to see you. And I got up on my bike and I cycled up the town. And when I got to the top of the town, I saw the black crepe on the door. And I knew that somebody was dead. My memories of him are quite vague. But I have memories of quite a big man with black hair and brill cream who used to whistle quite a bit. I can remember the way he whistled. He used to sing, his songs were, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts and the garden where the praties grow and the pride of Petrovore.
For the girl I loved was beautiful, I'd have you all to know. And I met her in the garden where the praties grow. She was just the sort of creature, boys, that nature...
Chris was 10, 11, and Barry was a year, and I had 6 in between. 3 sons and 3 daughters. And it was rather difficult in the sense that up to his death, I was with him all the time. And then when he died, I was left carrying the can, like trying to keep up some kind of communication with them.
The biggest thing that was cast upon me when my father died was at the age of 11, I was told that I'd have to look after my mother and brothers and sisters, that I was now the man of the house. And I realise now what a weight that was. I was able to relate to it because one of my own sons is now 11. And when I realised what it would be like for that to be said to him, it gave me an insight of what it was like for me. I never saw it that way before.
Through you ride the finest horse I've ever seen, standing 16, 1 or 2, with eyes wild and green. You ride the horse so well, hands light to the touch, I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. When you ride into the night without a trace behind, run your claw along my gut one last time. I turn to face an empty space where you used to lie, and look for the spark that lights the night through a teardrop in my eye. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. No matter how I wanted to. Thank you.
Like when Daddy died, Mammy kind of left home as well. We became very, very good friends. But I wouldn't say it was always that way, you know. I mean, she was trying to keep the ship afloat, and she didn't have much time to be close friends with me. I mean, she used to get up early in the morning and drive to Dublin to the market to get vegetables and fruit. And then she came back down to Newbridge and she ran a shop. And then she was involved in politics and all the library and education and health. And I always remember Mrs. Brannigan next door saying that you'll get clean sheets when the elections are over. Well, I think all my earliest memories of my mother, when I go right back to the earliest things, they are musical. It was the piano. I mean, she loved to play the piano and she loved to sing. She always encouraged me to sing. Like from a very early time, I knew songs and I could sing an entire song from before I could do anything else, really.
Where the boiling water flows gently past Mulkin, I met a woman down from the yellow firs. She closed her eyes and started singing a song about the light that shines and the wonders of the world. She sang of the forests on the high, high mountains, pure, clear water and the fresh air we breathe, of the bounty we gain from nature's abundance, how the mighty oak tree grows from a little seed. She had an everlasting notion. The woman from the yellow firs had a never-ending dream as she called out to the stars.
Growing up in Newbridge, I was never exposed to anybody playing the flute or the fiddle or the pipes or the kind of culture that I subsequently became interested in. I was in my teens before I found out about it.
he was passing by. He asked a drink as he got dry at a well below the valley. Oh, green.
And I heard John Riley for the first time at a Flackyole in Boyle. It was the first time I ever became exposed to big songs, as distinct from little songs like the Jug o' Punch or Rosin the Bow. I heard John singing songs like Lord Baker, What Put the Blood, The Raggle Taggle Gypsy. This was something new.
There's one of them buried beneath the tree at the well below the valley, oh. One of them in the angels field at the well below the valley, oh. One of them outside the graveyard wall at the well below the valley, oh. Green grows the lily, oh, right among the bushes, oh. If you be a man of noble fame, you'll tell to me what'll happen myself at the well below the valley, oh. Green grows the lily, oh, right among the bushes, oh. You'll be 7 years a ringing a bell at the well below the valley, oh. 7 years a burning in hell at the well below the valley, oh. I'll be 7 years a ringing a bell, but the Lord above me save me soul from burning in hell at the well below the valley, oh. Green grows the lily, oh, right among the bushes, oh. Green grows the lily, oh, right among the bushes, oh. Shimusha God help her, Shimusha God help her, God of fear. She God help her, Shimusha God help her, Shimusha God help her. The God of fear and the God of love. She God help her, Daddy was the daddy.
I didn't see John Riley as a traveller. I didn't know he was a traveller. The attitude of the Irish people to the travellers, it's the flashpoint of, in a way, of society in Ireland. The intolerance towards the travellers, how we do them down. I think it's the biggest injustice in the country.
My name is Johnny Connors. I am a travelling man. My people have been travelling since time it first began. With me horse and covered wagon and my family by my side, grazing the long acre, I travelled far and wide. I met Bridie man, my sweet wife, on a fair day in Rathkeale. She was the finest travelling girl that ever wore a shawl. We worked the tin around Galway, then on up to Ballinasloe. For a traveller with a horse to sell, it was the place to go. We sold the old linoleum, swapped carpet for old pine. But as the years passed on, the travelling life got harder all the time. Where have all the halting places gone? All them friendly doors where we'd haul spring water from the well and sell pepper flour. Now it's guards, jailers and JCBs to roll big boulders in. Temporary dwellings are prohibited. Innocent little travelling children lost out on them streets. Me my sons and daughters on the wine, lying round me feet, as they try to dull the hurt and pain, the rejection that's imposed. Travellers are not wanted here, but there's no place left to go. My name it is Johnny Connors. I am a travelling man. I've taken everything that's been thrown at me. Now I'm going to make a stand. I've taken everything that's been thrown at me. Now I'm going to make a stand. It's a great day for it. I did my first gig here in Slattery's in Capel Street, I think probably about 1965. In those days, there used to be about 14 gigs a week in this place. There was 7 happened down in the basement and 7 happened here. All different kinds of music. About 1968, there was a gig started up here called the Mugs Gig, which used to be run by Donal Lunny and Andy Irvin. And I played at that gig a few times, and subsequent to that, there was also a club here called the Traditional Club, which was ran here every Wednesday night for about 20 years, which was a very important club. Planksty played on this stage here. We played here every Monday night for about 3 months. We got a lot of our music together in this room. My involvement with the anti-nuclear movement was the biggest step from the point of view of getting involved in radicalism in my music. But that was the start of actually becoming involved in writing and of trying to be relevant. A dark cloud rising all through Wexford town. I see a hard rain on Ireland coming down. There'll be no time to shelter. Now let's make a stand. O'Malley's plan we'll have to ban, or he'll destroy this land. He wants 4 nuclear stations, who knows how many more. If we're going to stop them, we must defend Carnsore. So men and women of Ireland, it's time to show your hand. The lessons of France and the USA should make us understand that the working man is being used again. It's the working man that's being used again.
That Baggot Inn. The Baggot Inn smells the same as it smelt 25 years ago. It looks the same. It's full of sin, dirt, filth, and it's a marvellous place. The shrine of rock and roll. Everybody played here. Oscar Wilde sang here one night, with Brush Shields. It's great to be back here, I tell you. I played in this place more than in any other venue in the world, because I played here constantly from about 1973 did solo gigs. Then I played here with Christy Moore band with Jimmy Faulkner, Declan McNeil, as God rest him, Kevin Burke, Robbie Brennan. And then in the 80s, I started playing with the Hearts here. And I played every Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday night here for 52 weeks. We did 3 nights a week for 52 weeks, and it was always full, and it was always great.
No time to love if they come in the morning. No time to show tears and from tears in the morning. No time for goodbye and no time to ask why. And the sound of the silence and the cry of the morning.
Moving Hearts were formed on the kind of back of the anti-nuclear roadshow, of the Carnsore Point festivals, of the blanket protest in the H blocks. And these were things that I was involved in, and other members of the band were involved in varying degrees. I sang a lot about the hunger strikes. The hunger strikes were going on, and it would have been very, very difficult for me to stand on this stage every Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday night as hunger strikers died in the H blocks and not to say anything about it. So that was reflected in the work of the band at the time. And obviously this didn't suit some people. Some people would like to live their lives down here in Dublin as if people were not dying in hunger strike in the 6 counties, as if people were not at war, as if communities were not at war.
When the day that comes around, and by chance we're both downtown, if we should meet, walk on by, hush, little darling, don't you cry. Tonight we'll meet at the dark end of the street. You and me at the dark end of the street. You and me.
It's a very slow door, that. Well, here we are. That was Slattery's, and that was the Bagot. And here we are at the Point Depot, down the North Wall, on the banks of the River Liffey, Ballyaclia, Dublin, Ireland, Europe, the world. This is an amazing place altogether. I never thought that I would end up singing a few ballads in a place like this. Jesus, it's amazing. But I'm about to start my 3rd run here on Patrick's Night, please God, 17th of March, 1994. Christy at the Point. What I love about this place is to come in here and see it like it is now, and then see what it can become. And it's always a wonderful feeling to walk out on the stage here. I used to feel very nervous about playing big venues in Dublin. But I remember the first night I walked out on the Point here. By the time I got to the middle of the stage, I realised that my audience were happy for me to be here. And then I kind of twigged that if it was okay for the audience
it was okay for me. And I really got into it.
No matter where I wander, I'm still haunted by your name. The portrait of your beauty stays the same. Standing by the ocean, wondering where you've gone, if you'll return again. Where is the ring I gave to Nancy Spain? On a day in spring, when snow starts to melt, streams to flow, with the birds I'll sing a song. In the while I'll wander down by Bluebell Grove, where wildflowers grow, and I'll hope that lovely Nancy will return. No matter where I wander, I'm still haunted by your name. The portrait of your beauty stays the same. Standing by the ocean, wondering where you've gone, if you'll return again. Oh, where is the ring I gave to Nancy Spain?
On St. Valentine's night in 1981, I was playing with Moving Hearts in Thomastown. News came in about the fire in the Stardust in Dublin. A fire in which 48 young people died. And I tried for many years to write about it, to express my feelings about the fire. And one night I was watching a programme on RTE in which a mother who had lost 3 children said they never came home. And those simple words just turned the key, which allowed me to write the song I had wanted to write for so long.
Round the city, the bad news had spread. There's a fire in the Stardust, 48 dead. Hundreds of children injured and maimed.
It would appear as if the song made some very powerful people very, very angry by what it said. Because sometime later I ended up in the High Court in Dublin, where I was forbidden by law to sing parts of the song.
The days turn to weeks, the weeks turn to years. Our laws favour the rich, so it appears. A mother still waits for her kids to come home. Injustice breeds anger, and that's what was done. Let us remember the suffering and pain, the survivors and the victims of the fire in our time. The mothers and fathers forever to mourn, the 48 children that never came home.
There was a time in the 70s when I started just doing so many benefit gigs that it became pointless and meaningless. It was like I was climbing up in every bandwagon. You know, I was giving my songs and my music to everybody who asked me, and it became ridiculous. One night I remember I travelled up from Kilkenny to do a benefit in Dublin, and nobody turned up, not even the person who'd asked me to do it. I was the only one there. So it was time to take stock. Now, in 1994, I say no to everything, and I do what I want to do myself. I become involved in things that I feel I can get involved in, and that it will mean something. I got this idea that as my contribution to the trip to Mullaghmore, that I'd try and write a bit of a song. Maybe we'll go down to Ennis Diamond soon. And
Yeah, you should. Cause a little stir.
again, I don't have a tune for it, I shall try it here anyway. I heard an angry voice behind a dry stone wall at a beauty spot on out be Karen. Go on, get back to Dublin. Your blowins don't belong here, with your traipsing round the burn, never staying very long here. And the only thing that I could think to say was, Mother Earth's my native place. This is my native shore. And while I'm here, I'll sing a song in praise of Mullaghmore. I took a rocky road up Croagh-Patrick, I took a mossy path up Slieve Gallion Braes. And I plunged the deep at Brandon Creek, and I lay in a glade beside Dunmave. All alone along the Wicklow Way, peace and solitude I found. And when I reached the slopes of Mullaghmore, I felt that I was standing on holy ground. Minister, 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 take time out for reflection as you fly by helicopter in pursuit of re-election. An obsession with affairs of state and high-flying legislature leaves little time for a man to share in the miracles of nature. I had a wonderful time growing up in Newbridge. We got 2 days off for the coursing every year, so I never actually went to the coursing, but I was very impressed by the fact that we got 2 days off for it. We also got time off for Punchestown races. And it was a place with a river, a place with the Curragh, with lots of soldiers and jockeys and trainers, and there was the Irish ropes across the road, which was always a very busy and interesting place. There was always things going in and coming out. Then down the road there was the cutlery, the Irish cutlery. And we also had a place called the Irish Last Works. So there's always these, right throughout the day there were these factory hooters going that kind of marked the day every day, as well as the Angelus bells in the 2 separate churches. Then a bit further down you had Bordnamona. I mean, it was a busy place. One of the big catchphrases in those days were, you dirty beluga, you know, everybody was a dirty beluga. And I can remember the men coming back from the Congo and the crack they used to be in the pubs. I can remember a very good friend of mine, the late Billy Quinn, or the Woodner Quinn, coming back from the Congo, and we had a great night out in the strength of it. I first realised I had a problem with drink about 1965, and from 1965 until about 5 years ago, I tried time and time again to stop drinking. I reached a point where there was no fun whatsoever left in it, you know. You wouldn't even have the odd night of crack. I ended up drinking a lot on my own. I ended up drinking secretly. I mean, my last drink was a half-pint glass full of sherry and 2 Valium. That's nearly 5 years ago now. Hopefully, I won't have to go down that road again. In 1958, jeez, I'll never forget it. I came down and everybody in the kitchen was in bits. They were wailing and crying and everything. What's going on? Neighbour's dead. Which one, said I? I was delighted. I didn't like him at all. But the mother gave me £1 to go down and get a mass said for him. In 1958. Jesus, the Pope would say mass for 10 shillings. I'm baiting down the town anyway and I have this £1 and I'm looking at it and I get as far as the bank corner amid some of the boys and said, Jesus, Christy, where did you get the £1? And I told him where I was. I said, oh, you're joking. You know you get 8 flagons of cider for £1. So we got the 8 flagons of cider in Hugh Neeson's anyway, and we betted out to the Hill of Allen with Jez, and we drank the 8 flagons of cider and we said the mass ourselves. But with Jez, I started hallucinating anyway. I wasn't able for it at all. I don't know whether it was the cider or the mushrooms I had for breakfast, but with Jez, I was all over the shop. And as I was walking home one evening, I know this takes believing, I met a group of creatures with the strangest looking features. A
poor old dog and a worm and a weed and a fine old pigeon. Yes, indeed. Then a daddy long legs jumped up sprightly and danced to the reel in the flickering light. Oh, round we go, heel to the toe. A daddy long legs jumped up sprightly and danced to the reel in the flickering light. Oh, yeah. On his tin and wispy spindles, he was deft and he was nimble. His eyes were scientific, and his dancing was terrific. And the rats and the worms made it in, and the nettles in the corner took it in. God says I, tonight's the night, we'll dance to the reel in the flickering light. Oh, round we go, heel to the toe. Oh, God says I, tonight's the night, we'll dance to the reel in the flickering light. Then the daddy long legs looked at me directly with a gaze that could dissect me, and he asked me in a whisper, hey, have you got any sisters? Good God Almighty, says I to him, what sort of a man do you think I am? I've only one and she's not your type. She wouldn't dance a reel in the flickering light. Oh, round we go, heel to the toe. I've only one and she's not your type. She wouldn't dance a reel in the flickering light. Says he, does she come from another planet? Has she got a bee in her bonnet? Does she do her daily duties? You never know, we might be suited. And the rats and the worms began to laugh. Some of them started shuffling off. We're gonna have some fun tonight, getting ready for the reel in the flickering light. Oh, round we go, heel to the toe. We're gonna have some fun tonight, getting ready for the reel in the flickering light. Yeah.
I was playing the circuit in England, I was playing the clubs in England, but I was aware of the fact that there was something really good happening over here that I would love to have been part of. And the main thing of that would have been Sweeney's Men and the Emmett Spiceland kind of thing really attracted me. I had the opportunity to come here, to come back from England in 1967 and take this place on. But at those times, I was 22 years old then, and it held no attraction for me, except a kind of a romantic view that I had of it. Then the morning shower, followed by a brisk walk down the end of the lane for the milk and papers. Agus Harnash Gudíon Kishtin, where the stirabout, steaming steadily, awaits, devouring, and then a few hours in the garden, a practice. All those horrible places so far behind me, but not youth which is slipping, but should be made to last forever, with clear bog smells and distant blue hue all around, and frequent sounds echoing around the hill of Allen. They say it's only skin deep, but such joys of nature are on the surface to touch, lick and taste, to roll on the grass and chew long stalks, and smell the clover and spy on the rabbits and let the calf lick the whitening hand. Who but a fool would leave it behind for a Romilly social club?
It was a Saturday night, and I got a gig in the Glasgow Folk Centre in Montrose Street, number 45, and I wasn't on until about 10 to 12, and I had to do 10 minutes, and the man who went on before me sang this song. And I've been singing it ever since, and tonight I want to sing it for my brother, because he's going to America tomorrow. This is a song especially for Luca. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hands, and I love the ground whereon she stands. I love my love, well she knows. I love the ground whereon she goes. I wish the day it soon would come when she and I could be as one. I go to the Clyde, mourn and weep, satisfied I never can be. I write her a letter, just a few short lines, and suffer death 1,000 times. For black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hands, and I love the ground whereon she stands. Down by the Clyde, yeah, it was one Saturday night in 1968, and it was raining. I love singing, I love creating a song, I love finding a way to sing a song, and then I love presenting it to an audience. I may have said this before, but I'll say it again. What sustains me in my work is the energy I get from the people who listen to me. That kind of feedback causes me to carry on. I hope that, like people like Ewan McCall, or that I can carry on at my work for as long as I'm able to breathe, for as long as I'm able to bang a guitar and sing a song. How's it going there, everybody from Cork, New York, Dundalk, Gurtahawk and Glenamaddy? Here we are in the County Clare, and it's a long, long way from here to there. There's the Burren, and the Cliffs of Moher, and the Tulla, and the Kilfenore, and Mike Russell, Dr. Bill, Willie Clancy and Noel Hill, flutes and fiddles everywhere. If it's music you want, you should go to Clare. Oh, Lisdoonvarna, Lisdoon Varna. Sure, everybody needs a break. Climb a mountain or jump in a lake. Some head off to exotic places, others go to the Galway races. A cousin of mine goes potholing, a cousin of hers loves Joe Dolan. Matty goes to the south of France, and Jim to the dogs and Peter to the dance. Summer comes around each year, we go there and they come here. Some jet off to Frahiliana, but I always go to Lisdoonvarna. Oh, Lisdoonvarna, Lisdoonvarna. I always leave of a Thursday night with me tent and me ground sheet rolled up tight. I like to hit Lisdoon in or around Friday afternoon. This gives me time to get me gear together. I don't need to worry about the weather. Ramble in for a pint of stout, cause you never know who'd be hanging about. There's a Dutchman playing a mandolin, and a German looking for Liam O'Goughlin, and there's Adam Bono and Gareth Fitzgerald getting their photo taken for the Sunday World. Finbar, Charlie and Jim Hand, and they're drinking pints to bait the band, and isn't it grand? Oh, Lisdoonvarna, Lisdoonvarna. The multitudes, they flocked in throngs to hear the music and the songs, and motorbikes and high-ace vans with bottles, barrels, flagons, cans. Mighty crack. Loads of frolics, pioneers and alcoholics, and Black Spook in the FCA, and Free Mickey Kelly in the IRA, and hairy chests and milk-white ties, and Mickey Dodgers in disguise. McGrath's, O'Brien's, Pippin's, Cox's, massage parlours and horse boxes. RTE are making tapes, taking breaks and throwing shapes. There's Aurons, Bowrons, Amadons, Arab sheiks, Hindu Sikhs, Jesus freaks. This is heaven, this is hell. Who cares? Who can tell? Anyone for the last few chocolates?